Hey, this is Kevin with Kevin's Microfleet. Today I'm coming to you with a Micro Galaxy Squadron review. We're going to be taking a look today at the Walmart exclusive, the Clash at Carkoon Battle Pack. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the figures of the vehicle, at the packaging. We'll do some measurements and we'll do a comparison. Let's go ahead and dive into the review. Okay, so let's start here with the outside of the packaging. So to start off here, you got Star Wars there in the top corner. Down here on the bottom, you got Clash of Carkoon Battle Pack. And then you get your figures and you get the skiffs. The one interesting thing about this is there actually isn't a series item that's on here. So typically you would have series 1, 2, 3, or 4. This is an exclusive battle pack to Walmart. Walmart does have the exclusives for the battle pack that has 2 items in it that retails roughly for $22 to $26. And then down here you have the battle pack here in a different language, which makes me believe this is likely going to be some type of an international release. I don't know where, but that's possible. In the US, it is a Walmart exclusive. So then you've got over here on the right side a little artwork there of the Sarlacc pit. As we turn this to the side, you get to see some really cool art there of the Skiff, again on the desert of Tatooine by the Sarlacc pit. And then here on the back we get a chance to see all of the different features to this, so we'll go ahead and explore all of these when we go ahead and actually take a look at the item here in just a minute. Turned around to this side, there's nothing on there. And then on the underside here, there is the UPC if you want that. So you can go ahead and snap a picture of it. Now, once you go ahead and open this box up, on the inside, they do have these removable backgrounds, which are pretty cool. So I've got one that's already open, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that. And here is what it is. It's a really cool image there of the actual Sarlacc pit. So you could be able to display the skiffs on there if you wanted to do that. That is really awesome artwork. So great work to the packaging team to be able to come up with that. So let's go ahead and we'll actually take a look at the skiffs. So now let's go ahead and start with the figures. So they do come in this nice little package here where you get a chance to see, you got Chewbacca, you've got Boba Fett in actually his Return of the Jedi outfit, then you've got Lando's Skiff Guard, and then you've got Luke, Jedi Luke. And so these do come in this little box, which is nice, as well as you get some blueprints there on the back. So now that we have these figures actually out of the box, we're going to go ahead and run through them really from right to left. So we'll start with Boba Fett. So this is great to actually finally get the Return of the Jedi version. We actually do have 2 other versions of him, which I'll show here in a minute. And they did such a great job here with the sculpt on this. He's got the little cape on there, which is really cool, as well as the paint actually even on his jetpack. And then they've got some of the silver there, the silver mark right there on the top of his helmet. They've got this little gray thing right there on the front of him. I don't know what that is, but that is on there as well. Then you get his knee pads. Everything on here looks really, really nice. They did a great job with this one. Now, if we take a look at him, we also have him from The Mandalorian. So this was actually the one that was released. This is his re-armored version from Series 1, Boba Fett Starship. And he came with Fennec Shand in that one. And so you get a chance to see there he is with his jetpack. And he's just got the longer, like Takama on there that goes all the way down, or like a skirt type of thing, if you want to call it that. That goes down to his boots. And that's just sculpted into his legs. So it's nice to be able to have this one. And the other one that we have, which is very unique, is we actually have our chase from Series 5. There is Boba Fett in his flight suit. So after he falls into the Sarlacc pit wearing this, he comes out looking like that, which is pretty cool. So that is your Boba Fett. And then we have Jedi Luke. Now, the one unfortunate thing about this Jedi Luke is how he's packaged in the actual box. So you can see his lightsaber there doesn't look very good. This is just a super soft rubber, or plastic. This is one that you can likely just heat this up very lightly with some warm water and then be able to bend that so that it actually looks more like a lightsaber instead of like it's drooping. But that is that. So again, nice sculpt here with the body. This is not the exact outfit that he wore when he was actually on the skiff, but it does look nice regardless. You can see here on the face, so I did get 2 of these, and you can see it looks like the face there, the paint got a little bit on his hair. On the other one that I have, the paint application was really not very good at all, and the face didn't even get down like to his jawline, so it just looks like a little blotch right there on the center of his face. So if you do see these in stores and you want to get one, I would say browse through and make sure you get one that looks pretty good. But otherwise, figure looks really nice. So then we can move on to the Lando's Skiff guard. And this one looks, again, really, really nice. It's amazing the amount of detail that they have on a figure that's this small. And so you can see as I kind of spin him around, it's got a lot of different types of paint and colors of paint on him. Even on the helmet, which looks really, really nice. And then on the front there, for his face, to be able to get part of that, it just looks like he has a beard on, but you know, it is what it is. So hard to be able to paint something, machine paint something like this as well that's that small. But they did a fantastic job with that. And then we get our Chewbacca. So this Chewbacca looks the same as it did in Series 1. The version that we get with the Millennium Falcon is the same sculpt, same paint application, nothing really much different with him. But that is your Chewbacca. Now, before we move too far along, I do want to compare some of these figures to the Action Fleet versions that we got way back in the day. So let's start here with Boba Fett. And so here is your Action Fleet version of Boba Fett that did come with the Skiff. And so you can see, oops, wrong Boba Fett. Here it is. Okay, so you can see much more of a blue outfit there with the Action Fleet one. It is in an action pose where he's holding his gun. And this is the Action Fleet version is actually hand painted, which is amazing that they did that back in the 90s. And so you can see here like all of the paint detail on there is all hand done, which is really, really nice. But there is your Action Fleet comparison to it. And then you have your Lando in his Skiff outfit. And so, again, here's your Action Fleet one. He does have that staff with him in the Action Fleet one, which is molded on there. This one didn't actually come with the Skiff set, this one here. It came in the Jabba's Dais set, but that is what that one looks like. So still pretty nice. And then if we look at Chewbacca, there were tons of different Chewbaccas that you ended up getting with Action Fleet. This is the version that came with the Skiff, where he's got his arm out like that. And again, very cool. Action Fleet stuff was just so awesome for when it was done. Not the same level of detail in terms of his fur and how much detailing you have in the sculpt there with the Micro Galaxy one is way more than what the Action Fleet one but still was very good. And then we have our Jedi Luke, and this is the Jedi Luke that actually had the real outfit that he should have had, although his one hand is not painted black as it should be versus this one. So that is your Action Fleet versus the Micro Galaxy Squadron for the figures. But very good, very well done for Micro Galaxy Squadron. All of these figures, too, are roughly an inch. So there is some variability. So Chewbacca is just slightly more than an inch. You'll see he's like an inch and an eighth, maybe. Luke is just under an inch. And then Boba Fett with his jetpack on there is right at about an inch. So just ever so slightly different, which is nice that the figures are scaled just a little bit. So now let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the actual skiffs themselves. So the great thing about these skiffs is these are actually unique. When we originally saw the pictures of this and it was originally leaked, it looked like we had one that was just going to be the standard skiff that you get from the individual single pack that's in Series 5. And you were going to get one that had some battle damage, which was this one. But these both are unique. I'll show a comparison of it to the Series 5 version here in a little bit, but I want to go through the two. So if we really start this from a packaging perspective, this one is the one that's the first one that we see. So if we start here just with the deco, you can see here on the front, it's got this one little blaster mark on there. You can see this here on the side. It also has the blaster mark, and it has actually a wash on it, which does look really nice. So the wash is like a dark wash. It's almost like a black wash. You can see a little bit of pooling on there. And then you've got, here's another little blaster mark that kind of runs along the floor there. But the wash actually does make this look a lot better and more like battle damaged, I guess, if you want to use that term. But the individual package one that we've got doesn't really have the same type of wash, or it's not as dark. And so you can see it kind of fills in some of the recesses here to make those panels pop just a little bit more. So the features of this are the same on both of them. So I'll just run through the features really quick first. So you do have this little plank that comes out. It does kind of click out. You can see it's got like a little notch in there, so that way it doesn't fall out as it just gets loose, but that clips back in. You have this one little side part right here that actually does fold down, which is pretty nice as well. Then you have this middle part that actually opens to be able to show the engine. It's a part that's really not super necessary for them to do, but is a cool little detail that they have on there. And then you've got the two little wings here that these things do spin all the way around. There is not really a whole lot of place side to side, but you can move them like that if you wanted to on both sides. And so that is that. It has the little hole here on the bottom for being able to fit this thing on the stand. It is very, very tight. So when you originally go to put this on, it feels like it should snap into place. In my experience, this is the same as what we got with a single pack. It doesn't actually snap in place. It just kind of fits in there really snug. So be careful. If you push on it too hard, you do run the risk of actually breaking the stand, which you really don't want to do, because otherwise you can't display these things so they look cool. So that's one of your skiffs. And then here is the other one. So with this version here, you can see it's got a lot more of the gray on there. It does actually have the same black wash on it that gets down into the crevices. You can see here as we turn this around, it's got more of the gray on there, all over the side, on this part here. And then as we look at it from the top, it's got a little bit there on that engine panel, and then a little bit there on the back as well. So it is great to be able to have these unique items that we're not getting a repack of something. They are unique to this specific packaging and this specific battle pack. There it is that opens. Then you have the little side that folds down. And then it obviously has the C-clamps to be able to put in the figures. This is nice, although the C-clamps are just a little small for some of the figures. So you'll see as I go ahead to try to put some in here in just a minute that that's a little bit of a tight fit. So if we look at these compared to the Series 5 single pack version, so here they are compared to one another. And so again, you can see obviously the difference in the deco from left to right. So this is Series 5. Then you've got, you know, the two here from the battle pack. And with the Series 5 version, it has all the same exact features, but you can see it really looks very bland. There isn't much to it other than just the sculpted damage on there. There's nothing really from a paint perspective. It's just the brown plastic. So you can see on this one there, I was able to get that that thing all the way up in there. So I guess it is possible. I just haven't forced it hard enough with those to really try to mess with it. The other thing that is interesting about this is there is a slight difference in the color. So you can kind of see this actually on the camera, that the Battle Pack version is a darker brown than the Series 5 one. So I had originally gotten 2 of these, one to be able to have as just like the standard version that comes with the 2 figures, and the other one to use the 2 figures on this Skiff because I knew this pack was coming. And so it is nice to see again that not only is there a difference in the actual paint application, but there is actually a difference in the color of it. And I will say that the Battle Pack version of this Skiff looks way better than the standard Series 5 release. So if you were considering waiting and just getting the Clash of Carkoon set, I would say that was a good idea and you'll really like this one. So let me go ahead and set up the figures on here, and then I also want to show this compared to the Action Fleet Skiff, as well as some of the other vehicles that are in the Micro Galaxy line. So now we've got the Micro Galaxy Squadron set up relative to the Action Fleet one. And so you can see with the Action Fleet version here that the details are a little bit more muted because everything is just thicker. The other difference is how the figures actually attach, where instead of using the C-clamp, you can see there at Luke's feet, there's actually a little teeny tab that sticks out that hooks onto the little piece that connects their feet. And so I have some blue tack there on the bottom of his feet to make sure he stays in place. But you can see, you can get all of the other figures on there. This doesn't have quite as many features. It does have the little plank that slides out. It does have the moving side here, but it doesn't have the fold down piece on the side or the engine to it. This is actually the battle damage version of this that came with Action Fleet. There were 2 versions. One has this extra figure, Baraba, and then the other one just has the other figures that are on here minus Lando. And so you can see here as I turn this around. And then this just has a stationary stand that just plugs into a hole there on the bottom, versus the Micro Galaxy version, which I did actually clip this thing in there off camera, so you can see that does go all the way in. And so it's great to be able to move this thing around. And again, I've got these figures stuck down with a little bit of blue tack, which is helpful for being able to pose this in different positions without having everything fall apart. But that is what those look like compared to one another. I mean, again, I would say for the Action Fleet version, when it came out, what it was, it's pretty amazing. The Micro Galaxy Squadron version definitely has the added details that the Action Fleet was missing. But so that is your comparison of those. Let me do a measurement here of the Skiff so that way you have that if you're interested. So from side to side here, it's roughly 5 inches from all the way back to the very front. The height of it on the stand is just over 2 inches. And then the width of this from one side to the other is 2 inches as well. They're both the same exact measurement, so all is good there, but if you're concerned about that. There are your measurements. So let's compare this to another vehicle that we have in the Micro Galaxy Squadron line. So since we're sticking with Micro Galaxy Squadron and we're looking at Tatooine, I figure we might as well compare this to some of the other Tatooine vehicles that we'll have. So the first is just the Skiff relative to the land speeder, so you can see what that size looks like. I don't know what the actual scales of any of these are, but I would say they look roughly in scale with one another. Probably the Skiff is just a smidge too small relative to what we actually see on the film, but overall it doesn't matter to me. It does look pretty cool. And then if we have this compared to your Boba Fett Starship, you can see what that looks like relative to that as well. And then finally, I do this comparison with pretty much all of them just to show what that comparison looks like relative to the X-Wing, because the X-Wing is kind of like the tried and true one that I compare all of them to. So this is your Series 1 X-Wing, and so you can see what the Skiff looks like relative to that. Overall, I think this is a fantastic set. To be able to get 2 Skiffs and to get the 4 figures in there. You do have to get the Series 5 light armor class version in order to get your Han and your Nikto guard or whatever he is. So I would recommend picking up that as well. There are links in the description to be able to get them off of Amazon in the light armor class bundle, or you could pick them up at stores as well. That is all I have for you. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everybody watching, and I look forward to catching everybody on the next review.